Visiting New Orleans has always been on my bucket list. The food, the music, Fat Tuesday, the Mississippi River, these are things I've been dreaming about since I was a kid. When I finally made the trip down there, over 5 years had passed since the floodwaters breached the levees. I specifically went to the lower Ninth Ward neighborhood because it was completely devastated by Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, and it still hadn't been fully rebuilt several years later. Although definite progress has been made in the lower Ninth Ward, and especially in New Orleans, only 20% of the lower 9 community members had returned home by December of 2010. 1,200 of the once 5,300 homes that stood there still hadn't been rebuilt when I visited. The community was still largely without schools, businesses, stores, and markets as well. I found the lower Ninth Ward to be peaceful, beautiful, and also a little too quiet. If you walk through the neighborhood, you can feel the history within it. You can see the natural beauty of the Mississippi River that nearly runs right through it, and you can still feel the scars that exist from the hurricane. Several nonprofit organizations are committed to rebuilding the lower Ninth Ward. The group I chose to volunteer with was a nonprofit organization called lower9.org. They have led rebuilding projects in the neighborhood since 2007 and are a community-minded, socially conscious organization. The people I volunteered with were all truly extraordinary. Many of them have been volunteering at lower9.org for months. They came from all over the country and from all over the world. Half of the group was actually from foreign countries that had chosen to volunteer here in America, in New Orleans, which as an American, I found to be very inspiring. And if you're wondering why people take the time out of their lives to volunteer and do this, the reason is simple. It's the right thing to do. And it makes you feel good to be connected to the culture and spirit of New Orleans. The Big Easy is a very special place which I came to appreciate, ironically, when I was in San Francisco. I was sitting on a crowded bus when a random group of about 8 people all realized they were from Louisiana and from New Orleans. Once they made the connection, each person started chiming in, "Hey, I'm from here," or "I'm from this part of town," and before I knew it, I was no longer on a bus in San Francisco, but at a party in New Orleans. I absolutely enjoyed my time volunteering with lower9.org, and when I returned home to Redlands, California, I didn't quite know what to do next. There seemed to be an endless number of social issues, human rights issues, animal rights issues that all equally deserve our attention, but I think social issues will always affect each of us differently, inspire us uniquely, and the folks in New Orleans have grabbed a hold of my heart, and maybe they will yours too. So, the question becomes, what can we do for the folks in New Orleans without being physically there? For the past couple months, I've been spending weeks and weekends training for a marathon. And in the midst of one of my long runs, I realized I can make my marathon about something more than just a crazy physical conquest. I thought, why don't I use it to raise money for lower9.org? If I can get my friends and family members to support me in my marathon by sparing a little extra cash for the families in a community much like their own, then we can all make a little difference in the world and in the lower Ninth Ward. So, here's what I'm thinking. I run a few miles, well 26.2 miles to be exact, and maybe you could sponsor me in my marathon by donating $26.20, or any amount really, to lower9.org, and by doing so, we will ensure that the rebuilding process continues as long as it takes to rebuild each and every home. It only takes $160 to house and feed a full-time volunteer for an entire week at lower9.org headquarters, and trust me, plenty of things get done in a week's time. If you're interested in helping out, I'd really appreciate your support as I run for our friends in New Orleans. And if you ever get the opportunity, go and visit or volunteer in New Orleans. Enjoy some of the local cuisine, check out a brass band, and of course, always root for the Saints.
KK, you are the savior. We yelling black and gold, the Super Bowl. Black